What's up, ya bums? Today, we just got done watching Creed. We will eventually probably move on to Rocky in the way future, but for now, we are watching Creed as a way to celebrate Sinners, correct? That's why
Yes,
we're doing
it's
the
Sinners.
Coogler series?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're watching movies with Ryan Coogler as director and Michael B. Jordan as the star.
Which I will say, like, he may have done Sinners, or he's gonna be doing Sinners, but I'm gonna say this one was a real winner if you catch my drift. So, Creed. So before we dive into this, what is everyone's experience with the Rocky series? Cade, you first.
Oh, I was gonna say I should go last because I have the longest history, I think, with it.
Okay, Derek, you go. Okay, you know what? I'll go.
Okay.
How's
Yes,
that?
go first, Seb. Yes.
So, I really like the Rocky series, like even but I have an interesting relationship with it because so the first time I watched the first one, absolutely amazing. So you think I would try to watch them sequentially from then on? I had a weird habit of watching a new Rocky movie like once every year. Like I watched the first one with my mom. I thought that was fantastic, and then I watched the second one just like on a whim, just out of nowhere, like the year after. And that brought me to tears. That movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Rocky 3 came out, and I got essentially what I expected from Rocky 3, which was still good, but it was just like that's when it was starting to get a little formulaic with things. Even though it's like
very
arguably
commercial.
probably more memorable in some ways. And then Rocky 4 happened, which I watched in college. And that movie is just testosterone the movie.
Yes.
Like it is like describing the core basics of what Rocky is, and you just have someone who's never seen the first movie try to compile it into one. And it is so over the top, extreme, and macho. It's like I have nothing but the highest praise for it.
If you want to watch a movie, like Seb said, that's pure testosterone, it's Rocky 4 and Predator. Take your pick.
Yeah. One or the other. And I did not watch Rocky 5 yet. I did not watch Rocky Balboa. And Rocky Balboa is what I'm really excited for. But leading into that, like, I only saw bits and pieces of Creed. I didn't keep up with that series, even though I knew for a fact it was going to be fucking phenomenal. Like, I own it on DVD. I think I own Creed 1 and 2 on DVD. And I haven't watched them yet.
Well, besides now with this podcast.
And by God, I am so happy I finally did. But before we get to that, Derek, what's your experience?
Right. So, I feel like almost every time we talk about a franchise on this podcast, it's always about me saying how I never watched it earlier and only watched like pretty recently. And the same thing is with the Rocky films. I started watching them back in 2023 when Creed 3 was going to release that year. And I thought, you know what? I have some time to kill. I'm going to watch all the movies. So they're like the early part of 2023. I was watching all the Rocky movies. I actually watched Rocky 3 with these two bozos. We actually all watched it together.
Yeah, that's right.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a story with that.
I'm one of those weird people who likes all of the Rocky and Creed movies. I think all of them are good to some degree. And
I mean, all of them are like highly regarded except for 5. That's like the black sheep that no one talks about.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think it's the same director as the first movie, John Avildsen, who also did The Karate Kid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like the original Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you're saying, I'm sorry.
If we count both Rocky and Creed movies together in one list, I would probably say my least favorite is probably Rocky Balboa, and my favorite might actually be Creed.
Oh,
I really like this one a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, Creed is something completely special. Like, it is the best way to handle a legacy sequel. Cade, what is your experience?
So, I sort of grew up with the Rocky movies, like kind of like how Seb did with where I watched bits and pieces of it when I was first exposed to it. But upon like as I was like growing up, I then sat down and like slowly watched every Rocky movie Um, with the first one being like my favorite of all time, and then like I've only seen Rocky Five once, so maybe I need to give it a rewatch, and I'll have like a Thanos moment. It's like perhaps I treated it too harshly, but I just remember not liking it, and it almost has the same effect that Batman and Robin has, where it's just like it's a dumb, stupid movie that's just like funny to point and laugh at because it's so bad. But that's just my opinion. If people that love Rocky Five, like Derek here, love it, then that's on them. Good for them. We're not here to talk about Rocky Five. But I always remember. I remember all of Rocky. I remember most of Rocky 2, and I remembered a lot of Rocky 3, specifically like the crazy stuff that happened in it, like Thunder Lips, for example. Like I remember that scene distinctly because I'm just like, this is just goofy. This is just goofy Rocky here. And then Rocky 4 is probably the one I remember the least. And then I watched Rocky 5 once, and then Rocky Balboa, I watched that closer to like when I was like getting into college with my brother. And I remember just like everything with the Rocky franchise just clicked with me. Like like the core story of Rocky as a person. It all clicked with me finally. I'm just like, I get it now. I understand that these are just more than just a guy punching another guy and punching the heavyweight champion, or whatever. This is like the core
Call
of
me out here having like a Frank Reynolds moment.
exactly.
I get it.
I had a Frank Reynolds moment, especially, and I don't want to like give any spoilers, but like there's this one scene that everyone talks about as like probably the most like hardest monologues that Sylvester Stallone has ever given in his life, and I'll 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 tell who's ever editing. I don't know if it's myself or Jordan. I'll have the clip right here of that, but that quote or that whole monologue still sticks with me to this day, and was like one like the founding pillars of my philosophy. Yeah, just in life in general. And then, come to 2015, I remember seeing. I was at first like not interested to go see Creed because I was just like, oh, because this was before I watched Rocky Balboa. I was like, oh, this is maybe like, I don't know, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. I haven't seen a Rocky in a while. I don't know if I'll like this movie. I don't know what it's really like gonna be my vibe or whatever. But when I went to the movie theater, it became one of the very first movies in my life where I realized that this is what I want to do as a career. I want to make a story. I want to make a film where someday someone will sit down and watch it and feel what I'm feeling of just how amazing and well put together and just how strong of a film this is, to the point where it just rocks you to your core. This is before I watched Balboa, like I said. So imagine how like just destroyed I was of the entire franchise realizing this like connection here. And then after I watched Balboa, that's when Creed 2 comes out, and then we'll talk more about that at another point in time. But yeah, this film is something very important to me because in my life this was like the turning point in my life where I realized of what I want to do, what I want to leave when because time, as Rocky says, time is undefeated. It's gonna get all of us, and if I can make something like Creed and leave it to someone, like how Creed has been left for me and many others, then that's worth it. It's all worth it. That's my whole spiel there.
Very well said, man.
Thank you.
So, we'll dive into it. As you could probably tell, we all fucking adore Creed, like so much. I think this was like a fantastic way to handle like doing a legacy sequel and something of this magnitude.
Yeah.
I think what Apollo Creed represents in the world of Rocky is just like a state of just legacy, just being the hero. Like he starts out as the obstacle, and like he slowly grows like the friendship with Rocky throughout the series, and I think it's such a perfect way for
Hmm.
Rocky's for Sylvester Stallone to evolve the Rocky character of him finally becoming the mentor that Mickey was to him, and
Hmm.
it's so heartwarming in such amazing ways, and like it just the way it builds like tension and just like how like lessons are timeless, and like Sylvester Stallone is still so fucking amazing at just being a charming, like soft-spoken guy, but when he wants to go off and like really say something and get something off his chest, like he will devour the scene every time.
I
Like he
think.
comes out, and it never comes off as corny. It comes off as
Mhm.
real. Like this is coming from Sylvester himself of just
Yeah,
hardships they've had in the past,
I think that's
and
probably what. Sorry. Good.
it just talks about just like, well, if I had, well, everyone I know is gone. Like all I can really do is just exist for right now until you have people who come into your life to give you purpose again, to make you
Hmm.
happy with yourself, and like give you a reason to go, like keep living.
Hmm. And yeah,
Yep.
to piggyback off that a little bit, I think that's why this film is so like like such a great film because nothing feels fake. This feels like this doesn't feel like the the standard the epic like sports movie like you like your Moneyball or like whatever or Draft Day is actually a better example because Moneyball's a great movie too, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like your standard like sports movie of like even like it to the point of like Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 where it's very like commercialized sort of like you gotta give the people what they want. Like no, this feels like this would
Every
this
time it gets to a point like that, it feels earned. Like it
right.
feels
This
genuinely like this is an evolution of what was previously established, and it I feel like it
yes.
earns the right to get to that point. And this movie doesn't feel like it was made to make money. It was made because I felt like it reached a point in a lot of people like
Yeah.
maybe Rocky's age where
Yeah.
he wants to pass on what he's done to maybe grandkids or like a son of his own, and
Mhm.
it's just such a like, funnily enough, like Rocky is like the '70s equivalent to Toy Story, like where it grows up with the audience
Yeah.
in a
Yeah,
weird
you're
way,
right.
where it gets to the point like the created like the Toy Story 3
Yeah.
of like '70s sports action movies.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even call this an
I
action movie. This is like a drama.
I was going to say this feels like the most like the furthest a movie has pushed to almost being a biopic. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this feels like this could definitely be a biopic about an actual boxer, but it falls into the Rocky franchise is able to build off it to make it a far more realistic world than what was left with Rocky 3, 4, and 5. And well, I
Because
guess
usually
Balboa
with
as well, but you know.
what makes it so interesting is like usually with like when you think of movie franchises that have like these giant like long lineages of movies, like it's always like ensemble casts and everything of just like
Mhm.
these big squads, like a superhero team, or maybe like a team at Hogwarts where it's like the three of them and like all these people that they build up, or maybe Twilight where it's so many characters
Or
throughout this
Star
entire
Wars.
series. It's just, yeah, and they have all these people to bounce off of to create new scenarios. From Rocky 1 through 6, it was just him just going through the years, just aging,
I have a
and like
question.
slowly one by one, like his friends pass away, like he
Yeah.
loses mentors over time, like as age happens.
Yeah. I have a question for both of you. Is
Hmm.
Rocky probably the most successful uh and most well put together franchise out of like especially since what we've seen nowadays?
I feel like definitely so, and like being because like even Rocky 5, like
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but from what I hear, it's like it's not awful. It's just like again, it's like I mean, I said this
It's very
during when we
underwhelming.
were watching. Yeah, it's like the Back to the Future 3 of
Yeah.
Rocky movies. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of mellow because it tries to bring it back to square one
Yeah.
again. In Rocky 4, he's like a millionaire, but in Rocky 5, like he loses all his money and goes back to like the streets of Philly.
Yeah.
which I for a lot of people feels like kind of a cop out, but or like an unfair reset. But
Yeah.
I still need to see it to like judge for myself. But I could
Hmm.
see why people would be like a little upset that's more street scaled. But
Yeah.
um
But Derek, what about you? Do you?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think the reason why it feels like the Rocky franchise has been very consistent in its quality is just because, kind of like what you guys were saying, it just keeps these stories very grounded and it
yeah,
understands what it is. And even going
and
into these Creed movies, it still keeps that philosophy with its characters
all
and how the
Hmm.
movie's done.
also, I wanted to say before, it's because I think Sylvester Stallone produced like a vast majority of these movies, so he had a lot of say and control of like what his character would be and would want, and I feel like he projects a lot of maybe Sylvester's own insecurities, his own limitations, like into Rocky to make him more human. And
Hmm.
throughout time, like as he ages, Sylvester, like we age with Sylvester Stallone, like trying to like have a renaissance again, like much like Rocky and the character. It's not like, but it's not like Sylvester's like failing in that, but it like you can really see like the you could just see a lot of similarities, or at least like a lot of character traits that Sylvester would write into Rocky, and we can
Hmm.
relate to it because we see Sylvester going through it. And I feel like just he knows when to scale back certain aspects of the character and like really push it forward in what like we do with the story. And I feel like I'm happy that Ryan Coogler was picked to be
Hmm.
the story head and stuff like this, and like how they gave like their own different flair with this legacy sequel.
Yeah.
And like he is raised off the streets in a way, but even coming off as something as big as like you are the son of like one of the greatest boxers, like he's still kind of he's trying to come from nothing, and he has his own community behind him.
Yeah.
I think it's also a testament to producer Erwin Winkler because he also produced not only all the Rocky movies but
Mm,
so far all the Creed movies too.
yeah.
Also,
Wow.
the dude's 93 years old, so
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I I don't know, like I don't
And we
want to
saw
knock on wood, but like Rocky 3, not Rocky 3, Creed 3
Creed.
might end up being the last, but you know, you
Yeah.
never say never.
hey, if he produced Creed 3, then maybe he was the true MVP of the Rocky series.
Mm,
He really stuck with it when Sylvester couldn't.
yeah. I haven't
Speaking of
seen.
speaking of which, like Sylvester is fucking fantastic in this movie.
Oh yeah.
That like he is just so good, and even like at a certain aspect of the movie, which I didn't even know was a part of it, like he plays himself so frail, but he's
Yeah.
still willing to like really keep it together and like really try to persevere through it, like in his own like strong way, as Rocky would.
Hmm.
Even though at first he's like kind of defeated over it for a pretty legitimate reason
Yeah.
at first, but like just them helping each other out is so like amazing.
Hmm.
He was nominated for an Oscar for this movie.
Yes, he was.
Oh my goodness. Is
Right.
Sylvester an Oscar winner? I think he did get it from the first Rocky.
Think so. I think Rocky did win an Oscar. Um, but yeah, he definitely deserves that nomination. I can't remember who he went up against that year, but I am glad to see that he was at least nominated for Creed because he played it's like just the most natural thing you can see of a person of like Rocky Balboa. He went from this like big heavyweight champion to he's just a he's just an old guy that's just around Philly. Like he's like here in, not to like fully like dox ourselves, but in our state we have a our own sort of like Rocky type uh athlete, and it
Yeah.
I just feel like that's just kind of the same lifestyle. He just lives a quiet life now. He just wants to like do his own thing, be his own person, just like spend time as much as he has left just appreciating what he had and what he's gonna have.
Yeah, and like I feel like this still carries through of just like is Rocky like in a giant mansion when we find him like in Creed? It's like no, he just owns a restaurant still, he's
Yeah.
just managing it, and he lives in like a modest house, but it's not like a
Mm.
mansion. Like he's just
Yeah.
he's just like kind of happy with the legacy that he created, and he doesn't really like he just kind of lets time take its course. Even then, like the first time like you he talks to Creed about it, it's like time is undefeated.
Yeah. He's not
Like
a
he just kind of
sellout,
goes,
and we love that.
yeah. He
Yeah.
just like sticks with like what Rocky would be like probably at this age, and it's like as human as he could ever get.
Hmm. But I think now is a good time to talk about the new characters of the Rocky franchise, starting with Adonis Creed and how Michael B. Jordan kills this role.
He is just so likable. Like even coming off like when he's first established, you kind of see him as being like a little too plucky, maybe too bratty. Like maybe he makes like a too brash decision, like disregarding his
He's a hot
mom.
shot, yeah.
Yeah, he's a hotshot, but I feel like he gets humbled. Like again in the first gym scene, he gets humbled like immediately.
Yeah.
So I feel like he just starts at a point where it's like, okay, I need to get trained. I know I'm not like the best of the best, but I want to get there and I want to do it like without Creed, without that name. I want to go under Johnson rather than
Right.
Creed.
And I think it helps that we saw his first fight and we know, like, we see his talent. He has talent, but like you said, Seb, once it's up against like the real deal and
Like
not
actual boxers.
like actual boxers, like yeah, he can maybe like take down some small fries like pretty easily. But once he goes up against someone serious, it's a different beast, and he's not ready
Yeah.
for that. He can't do that on his own. And but yeah, I think, and I think it's a shame because I don't want to talk more about the sequel right now, but I think this is the best performance between the two. I haven't seen the third one, so I don't know. But this is the best performance from Michael B. Jordan of this character. And it's pretty much the same reasoning why I love the first Rocky movie, is the way it's, as George Lucas says, it repeats itself on how the film ends. Adonis and Rocky don't win, but they earn the respect of being a legitimate fighter by their opponent. And it's just a nice sort of way to call back to that. And it's just like it feels more realistic.
And it even says they even bring it up like kind of at the end. It's like Conlon won the fight, but Creed won the night. Like
Won the
he
night, yeah.
already, yeah, he cemented himself. He like everyone, the world knows what he's capable of doing,
Yeah.
and like stepping head to head with like the heavyweight champion. Like that is, it's
It's
like
not an easy
he already
feat, but
proved his
yeah.
point. He
Yeah.
proved his point.
But we'll talk more about that final fight in a bit. But are there anything else we want to mention before we like move on to like Bianca or anything like that? Like maybe the one shot fight.
No, I think you guys basically said everything that was on my mind.
I
Fair
mean,
enough.
Bianca's great too. Bianca's just like a nice love interest type character, like still supportive. Like it's the complete opposite of Adrian.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Adrian's great. Adrian's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think Bianca's like a nice change of pace of just like, yeah, she's like outgoing. She's more private though. Like maybe just kind of kept to herself more.
I mean,
And I do appreciate.
Adrian was kind of like that in the first two movies.
Yeah. But
She was
like
more
she was
shy
like more.
than
She was shy rather than like more
Yeah.
private.
Yeah.
Like she's not loud as Bianca clearly is,
Yeah.
which is very funny because she's here.
I love that side story so much, especially her. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do love how that's even like expanded upon the sequels. Like I really like
Yeah.
how like what role it plays in the third movie. I thought was like really impactful for that one specifically.
Oh, I just realized. Holy shit! I just realized that it was literally foreshadowed when they first met. It's like, oh, I didn't know it was that loud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I never realized that. Of just like, yeah, she didn't know it was that loud, and she didn't mean to be rude.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, for those that have not watched the film, Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson, who again kills it, she basically has a hearing aid, or does she have hearing aids in both her ears?
I think in both ears.
I think
Probably
yeah, I
both,
think it is both ears. But basically, I love she knows that eventually it's going to get worse. And kind of like with Rocky, she's just not worrying about the future. or anything that could happen. She's just more focused on here and now and trying to make the most of it. And that to me, again, there's a reason why this is probably like would be in my top 5. Like you know how actors or directors like do like the most like movies that are the most essential to them. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Creed
Yeah.
is in that 1000%. It's Creed, Goodfellas, Empire Strikes Back, La La Land, and Monsters Inc. Those are my top 5 like most essential movies of my life that define me as a person.
Like it is really like a new caliber of film. Like amazing films are still being made, and this is one of them. Like this will
Yeah.
be hopefully cemented in like the same regard as Rocky.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when Creed 3 was coming out a couple years ago. I remember a lot of other people were also like checking out these movies for the first time. And like I
Mhm.
just kept seeing people like after they watched the first Creed, they're like, "Why didn't nobody tell me this movie was so good?" Like,
Dude, do not let the Walmart bargain bin where these movies usually end up. Do not let that fool you. These are like masterclass films.
Yeah,
Like
this
every time I find the Creed movies, they're always in bargain bins for some reason. It's always such a shame.
I'm just like
This should
but
be
but this is a movie. Like this is an
this
actual
movie should
movie.
be like this movie should be $40 for the Blu-ray and Steelbook.
Yeah.
They should
This
have a Barnes and Noble limited edition.
this doesn't deserve to be on in the same category as like Glove Shitto Saves Christmas or whatever. Like
Hey, you
just
take that back.
this doesn't deserve to be in the same caliber as like those kind of like B to C list movies that are just in the bargain bin that like you know what I'm trying to say. I can't think of an actual movie, but
Yeah.
The Reef.
the Reef, The
Maybe something like
Happening.
that.
Oh my god, The Happening starring Mark Wahlberg.
Can't be happening, right?
What are you some kind of tree?
What? No.
What? No.
Plan on murdering me in my sleep? What? No. I'm not gonna die to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Yeah, so speaking of good movies, actually, the one take fight, the oneer.
Yeah.
So that is like the first establishment of like, well, actually, no, when he gets humbled, like then you really see like boxing. But the real masterclass in filmmaking is when they do a one take fight, which I have no idea. Like I want to analyze that like video
It's
frame by frame to
all
see if there's like match cuts or if there's any like tricks that they do to keep it out
Oh,
of
there's
one take.
tons of them. I'm sure there's
I bet.
there's one on oh god, what's that one YouTube channel called where they like bring in VFX artists or
Quarter crew.
yeah, I'm sure there's a quarter crew video on that.
There's gotta be or something or like VFX because they do stuntmen react too for like action scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
When I first
Yeah,
saw
so you
this
get-
movie,
yeah.
and when I saw that scene, it gave me an idea to do like a short film. That's like also like in a one shot, but it's about some dude trying to find his keys, and he's like late for work. He's like scrambling all over his house, like it keeps changing perspective, like the way that perspectives keep changing during the fight. Like that's
Yeah.
like what it was making me think of. I thought that would be funny.
Kind of like you would have a shot like in Shaun of the Dead where Shaun just like moves the mirror and you see his one roommate that's a
Like-
zombie in the shower.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, the oneer does such a fantastic job of the boxing is shot so well in this movie
Yeah.
as well. Like even compared to I made a rant about this, but I still hate how like wrestling is filmed in movies these days.
Mhm.
Especially since we know how like wrestling is shot normally like in a usual like setting for like on TV for WWE and like SmackDown Raw. So like when I see wrestling in like the Iron Claw and the wrestler, like I know it's trying to be more like up close and personal to what they're going through, but I always hate that it's like always shaky cam, like you can never tell what they're doing. And like it just like is super clumsy every time when they do stuff like that. But in this movie, like you could see every like they take a step back, you can see every punch cleanly. You in the one take, like everything is shot so rhythmically and amazing. And when they take a fall, the camera will follow them occasionally, and that's fantastic.
Mhm.
And it also just shows the disorientation and just like the sheer like adrenaline you go through, like you are in the moment with him
Yeah.
fighting through it, and I think that's fantastic. And this is like another evolution of like this is probably what Rocky would have been like with the technology to actually handle it, because literally in the first Rocky movie they had a steady cam, but it was so loud and cumbersome that they can only get it, like you can actually hear it in some shots, like when like Rocky and Adrian are like walking down the sidewalk, and like when Rocky's talking to friends, you hear like a rolling cart in the background, and that's the steady cam.
Mm-hmm.
Like they couldn't even do shots like that if they tried.
Yeah.
But nowadays you can have like snoring cams, you can have people like in the ring like following through with like these clean, amazing cameras. And like I still think Rocky shot stuff really good, but it was shot more like a typical like boxing match, and maybe they were being a bit more safe with each other, and maybe they were too far away at some points, but that's just what you had to do at the time.
Yeah.
Like like everything is just like perfect in how it's handled, and when we get to the last fight, like that's amazing because you just feel every impact, every like damage that they're given, it like reflects on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah. The audio is
I've been
very
having
well done for this movie.
It really is, dude. The soundtrack is phenomenal.
I remember while we were watching it, like Seb going, "Ooh!" Like every time there was like a punch, like they were just spurting out blood.
That's how it felt because like
Uh
every
huh.
punch felt like a gunshot. It
Yeah,
was
there was like,
actually
hey,
incredible.
hey, there was actual weight to a punch. That's crazy, right? 2015, we
Yeah.
come so far in fights. Take that, James Bond. Take that, Indiana Jones. We got
Take
Adonis
that,
Creed.
Roadhouse.
Take that,
Road
Roadhouse.
the new Roadhouse took so much precaution. They're like, we're gonna make sure that the punches connect in the movie, and it looks so janky.
Hmm.
They literally filmed them like they filmed it normally, and then they filmed it with like in slow motion with the punch connecting, and then they
Yeah.
punched, and I think they did it with the reciprocant to the punch like not being there, and it's so weird. It's such a weird look if you ever see a fight scene from that movie.
When we were talking about how the movie like looked and how it's shot, that reminded me back on the first time Derek was watching Rocky 3 and we were like there with him. And I remember a good old friend of the podcast here, Andrew Barr, him and I having a full on like debate on whether or not noise looks good or not in
Oh my god, I
films.
remember this! Holy shit!
For those that do not know what we're talking about, when you watch a movie like say Rocky and you see like the little like grain or whatever when you're watching the screen, that's called noise. That's what we in the film industry call. And the reason why it looks like that is because it's shot on film and it's used with an older camera, unlike nowadays where it's more digital. And like yes, there are cameras that were made on film that don't have that grain so much. Like look at Breaking Bad for example. They don't really have that much grain when you look at it because it's a well-made show. But I digress. Anyways, so when we were watching it, I remember there was a scene, and at first, was just like thinking to myself, like, man, this looks really good. Like movies weren't made this way anymore. Very like old man watches new movie like back in my day. Like no, it's because there's just a certain aesthetic that I like with that sort of look of a movie, and I feel like if you try to do that nowadays, it would feel disingenuous. If you get what I mean. Um, I said this out loud while watching Rocky 3, and then Andrew's standing there and he just looks at me, puts his hands on his hips, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "This looks terrible." I'm like, "Why?" It's like, "There's so much noise." It's like, "Yeah, because they didn't have good cameras back then, Andrew. That should take away." And apparently he had this like thought process of, well, if there's too much noise, how can you focus on the movie? It's a bad movie by that logic. And I'm just like, how? Like, yeah, Rocky 3 is not the best example of it, but like the other two Rocky movies, I even asked him, like, did you watch the other two? He's like, I tried. I didn't like them because I tried.
That's right.
I didn't like them because of the noise. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
That's one thing that's gonna be so great next time we bring Andrew on, because he is such a he's not pretentious. He is like kind of hilariously annoying in terms of like how much he doesn't like old stuff. Like I remember he
I
hated
know, I
vinyl
know.
records. He hates physical media. Like, and sometimes I feel like it's more of a bit, but sometimes he's like dead serious,
Yeah,
and he plays into that.
that's the issue that I had when I was arguing with him about it. That was the issue. I didn't know if he was doing a bit or not. So I just went with it, and I was just like full on having a full on debate with him about this. And then meanwhile, Derek's just sitting there on the couch, like 5 feet away from me, just like chilling and just watching Rocky 3. Well, before Andrew had to leave to go do his EMT job.
Yeah, he retreated.
He retreated, coward.
I mean, to Andrew's slight defense, because I think like his take is pretty outrageous, like especially from his own perspective. But at the same time, I don't know too much about like how the latest remaster of the Rocky series was done, but I don't know. Like at the same time, like when he was saying that, I kind of felt like there might have been some like fake grain that was added to the movie, because like obviously it is grainy. It's from like back, the movie came out like in the early '80s, so obviously it's gonna be grainy. But I'm not sure like how the restoration process was done for this specific movie, because I feel like I've seen other movies from that time or even older that didn't look as grainy as that specific remaster of Rocky 3. So like, I don't know. I can't speak on it. I'm not like a expert on transfers and stuff like that. But like I don't know. There might be some small validity to what Andrew was talking about.
Right, which I'll admit, like I wasn't defending the best movie here to defend.
I mean, maybe that has something to do with the fact that like Sylvester Stallone directed, I think, 2 and 3. I believe, because he was starting to like direct. So I don't know if he had any say on the camera stock or film stock that they used during the time. Because I do admit like it is grainy at some points, but again like that's just how a lot of things were, and like it depends on film stock and like. I remember James Cameron talked about how he wished he used a different film stock during Aliens. While Alien had like way nicer looking cameras.
Yeah.
Or like it used a different like technique to properly expose everything compared to Alien. So that's why Aliens comes out a bit more grainy compared to Alien.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
I can't wait to talk about this again with Andrew when we have him on the podcast again.
Rocky having cancer, how was that handled for you guys?
Oh my god, it's such a gut punch.
I did not know that was actually an aspect of the film. Like I was pleasantly surprised, and once again Sylvester does such a good job handling it. Like it's not like a Walter White like annoying way of like I'm not getting treatment cuz I'm epic. No, it's like actually like, well, I mean, I have nothing really else in life, so it's like I'm just gonna let nature take its course. See Adrian again.
Yeah, dude,
and Adonis is just like, what?
I remember watching Creed for the first time, and I was siding more with Adonis on his logic. It's like, no, like I need you. I need your help. I want to get better, and I need you to help me with that. It's like, yeah, I get that. But when I'm watching, like, especially this most recent time, I'm on Rocky's side more. Like, he's lived a long life. And it's
and for a boxer, like, him being able to go out on, like, his own terms is, like, kind of a luxury that a lot of people can. Because a lot of boxers, they get brain damage. Like, they even talk about in the movie, like, they get really messed up. And even in, like, I think Rocky Balboa, there's talk about I think they even brought back as far as like Rocky 2, where like he was having eye problems.
Yeah.
For a large part of it because of the damage he was taking.
Yeah, that's always a running thing. I feel like throughout the Rocky movies, there's always a mention of like his eye and his left hand. I think are always like the two big things that they talk about when they're talking about fighting, because like his left hand is like was usually what he would use to fight, and it's like quote like his method was like southpaw, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like sometimes that didn't work with some fighters. Like I'm pretty sure he tried it with Clubber Lang and it just didn't work. But it worked with Apollo because he wasn't used to like someone that had like street fighting experience like Rocky did. But yeah, it's just like it's things like that, little details like that. And he has the ball that he bounces around. I'm pretty sure that's also in Rocky Balboa, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's actually in the previous Rocky movies altogether. Like he just has
Callbacks, man.
Yeah, it's
It's
callbacks.
not even callbacks. It's not even callbacks. It's just a character thing.
Yeah, and hey, you know how they have a callback and they don't mention it? Hey, Rock, why do you got that ball that you bounce? Well, you see here, I had this ball since I was a kid, and I've been bouncing it ever since to keep my balance.
Hey, you see these turtles? I've had these turtles for 40 years. No, it's just like they're just there, and you just know about it because you're a fan of the series.
Yeah.
Well, that and also the movie just trusts the audience. That's
Yeah.
It trusts the audience. It
Why
doesn't
is
have
why
to
is
dumb
a
it
restaurant
down to you.
Why is a restaurant named Adrian's? Well, you see, my wife was named Adrian, and she passed away because of cancer. And
It's like, no, just have him-
What is this, Captain America: Brave New World?
Just have him go to Paulie and Adrian's grave, and that's all we need. And it's so sweet,
Dude,
like, he loves them so much.
Dude, I don't know if I cried before on the podcast, but I definitely cried again seeing that scene.
He did.
I cried a total of 3 times while watching this movie. It was
11
Rocky
times actually.
It isn't even 12 o'clock yet, but you have cried 27 times.
Oh, I'm sorry if I'm allowed to be emotional, Seb. What, you want me to go back to the old ways of men where we are always macho and never show emotion? Fuck you.
I need to show you a clip of Macho Man talking about him crying, because it is the most, like, feel-good monologue he ever goes on. Like, you think Macho Man is, like, a dumb brickhead, but no, he was honestly the machoest of all men.
Alright, now, whoever's editing this show, instead of that, show the clip of Macho Man Randy Savage being the cream of the crop!
No, show a video of Macho Man Randy Savage wrestling a gerbil on the Weird Al show. Thank you.
Actually show him the scene in Spider-Man where he calls Peter Parker homophobic.
Arg, you're making the movie too long.
Show a clip of his rap album anyway.
I had a rap album?
So, be a man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, just doesn't dumb down the audience in the way Rocky just handles, like, I just don't want to really, like, fight cancer anymore. It's the most Rocky thing you can ever think of.
Yeah, and I think with the whole cancer subplot, I think that whole subplot to me shows a perfect example about why execution always matters. Because I feel like you can say that the whole thing about him getting the pamphlets and then like Adonis finding him in his jacket, like, oh, you didn't tell me. People could complain, oh, that's like very cliche. But the reason why that works is because both Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone carry that emotion with everything in the movie, everything before the scene and everything during and after, like what follows the scene to the end of the movie. It's like you feel the emotion with these characters because you've been with them and you understand them. And I think that's always why the execution matters. And I think this movie nails it.
Yeah.
It's such an adorable, like, father-son dynamic. Like, even to the point where, like, Creed, even before they established a relationship, he just calls him Unc.
Yeah.
Essentially. And you feel that, like, at the end, like, Rocky genuinely, like, is happy. Like, and what feels like the first time in forever, like, especially after, like, what happens in Balboa.
And to those nowadays that use that term, I hate you, because this is an endearing way to sort of respect your elders that Adonis has adopted. It doesn't use it as an insult. Anyways.
Yeah, and like they don't delve too much on like his relationship with the son, but you feel like he wants that connection. He wants something to do. Like he wants like to carry on the lineage or pass it on or like do something with the rest of his years.
Well, that is also because he kind of did all that already in Balboa.
In Balboa, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it would feel like a retread on.
But
on
again,
things.
That's what I mean. Like they didn't retread. They trusted you to know that like what happened already.
It feels
like I love it for that.
It feels like what all legacy sequels should do, where it follows its own plot, but it still is faithful to the previous material. Like you got this, you got Top Gun Maverick, you got help me, and some other third thing.
The
a
Santa
good
Claus 2.
No.
Shaft. Shaft. Dude, I would love a Nacho Libre Legacy sequel. That's all I'm saying. Chancho.
Well, you gotta be
Chancho's.
careful who makes it, because if you get that into the wrong hands, it'll look and be really bad.
You
And
know what?
also,
Honestly,
like you said previously
I don't
in the
care, man.
in the Borderlands episode, this isn't 2010's Jack Black.
Yeah.
But imagine if Nacho Libre was like a priest, like an old man priest with a beard and everything, and like Chancho's just like, I want to be a wrestler too, and he's like, I gotta teach you the ways. He's not even like Mexican Jack. He's not Mexican Jack Black. He's just regular Jack Black. He just went insane.
Nickelodeon.
I'm glad
Jack
you remember
is
that commercial.
back. Jack is back.
You remember that promo for the Nick Choice Awards where it was just Jack
Yeah.
Black? Yeah.
Exactly, that's what it was. And he was on a motorcycle, and it's really funny. Anyway,
I think me and Cade are thinking of the white background one from 2006.
Yeah. It's literally just him making random noises and going, Nick Choice Awards.
That gets stuck in my head. If I like find the video again, it always gets stuck in my head.
So, okay, one scene that would typically, like, for something like this, I would roll my eyes at, the running scene with the dirt bikes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That made me
Yeah.
punch the fucking air.
Yeah.
That was really aura, and that was such like a beautiful like evolution of it, where it's like a more, it's a more like community focused run. Like even though in Rocky 2, I believe where everyone's like running behind him and everything, but like this one's just like it's smaller, but it has its own spin on it. Like throughout the entire movie, you see like these kids on dirt bikes just running, like driving around, and like they just hang out, and like maybe this is just a thing in that little community that they do. And like they follow through, and I love so much that we didn't talk about. Rocky's just a known thing in Philadelphia. Like everyone respects and loves him.
How come you never told me your uncle was Rocky Balboa? It's like that's all you need to know. That's all you need. People know who Rocky is.
That is all you fucking need. Like Philadelphia, like he is a legend. He has a statue dedicated to him. He's not like, oh, everyone forgot. Rocky Balboa is old news, except for the villain. But like, you know, he's just gonna do that. Like he is a legend. He is respected.
Yeah, and even then,
he's also respected.
And even then, Pretty Ricky like doesn't fully like push him away. He's like, now he's an actual legend. Like he acknowledges Rocky as being what he was. But he's like, but he's in the past. I'm here. And him, he's nothing. He's nothing. He's fake. He's a fake Creed. And it's just
nothing.
Like
no talent.
I would say you have no talent.
In which also, and then that leads into the final fight, which the villain. The villain, he's like,
an antagonist.
Essentially, it's like he's just kind of a typical boxer, because like boxing, like a lot of them just have like big egos, and usually like when they try to stir up buzz like in the pre-show, they usually don't mean it. They just want to gauge interest in it, because it's like the classic like showmanship of like even wrestling, of just like people will pay good money to watch someone shut your mouth.
Yeah, I will say I did.
So, like,
oh, sorry.
So you can even like just plead like he's not really a bad person. He's just a champion that just wants to gauge interest in his final fight.
Yes,
and even then you see that at the very end, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I will say. I remember seeing a criticism about Creed, specifically for Pretty Ricky, and how he's not like intimidating or like memorable like previous Rocky villains, and I'm just like, I don't think that's the point they're trying to make. Like you don't have your Apollo Creed where he's like a massive showmanship. You don't have your Clubber Lang where he's all talk and he's just a monster, and you don't have Ivan Drago who's just a genetic
until Creed 2, but we'll get there.
Until Creed 2, we'll get there when we get there. No. But you don't have him where he's like I will break you.
And I feel like this also leads into like, this is just what boxing is. Like the best of the best in boxing, like they're not shit brick houses. They're
Mm-hmm.
not like Mike Tyson is a fucking monster, but he was like small in regards to it. Like
Yeah.
he had small reach. He wasn't like the most intimidating looking person, but when he's in the ring, he will fucking demolish you. Like Butterbean, like he has the fucking like stupid name and everything, and it's like you wouldn't think he's like a big athlete, but he is undefeated. Like he is a fucking monster.
Mm-hmm.
Like boxing is like all about looks being deceiving. Like it's not
Yeah.
about like being the technical strongest. It's not about like being built like a shit brick house. Champions can look like that, but usually they're not. Like they're sometimes they're a bit schlubby, like a little like less stocky, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like it's all about building endurance and just having the biggest like punch behind you no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like it just pays more tribute to that. So maybe that's why he's less intimidating. And this is his last match, so he's older. He's like more been around the block, like not really like fresh talent, like going for the throat. Like he is established, like retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Which I
that leads
suppose
into, should we get to the final
I
fight?
think we should get to the final fight now.
Yeah, which
Um,
is fucking
yeah,
so phenomenal.
yeah. I just want to say, well, two things actually. One, I think I remember with this final fight, and when I was watching it, I just something clicked back with me with it, and I remember that they used the one shot of after he knocks down Pretty Ricky, and he just he's standing there like Adonis is like hitting his own chest, and they use that for the old Nicole Kidman AMC
Yeah.
preview, and I saw that, I was like, really, you want to use that shot?
We come
Because
to this place
yeah, exactly,
to get punched in the gut, to
Yeah.
die.
to get punched in the gut again. But yeah, like even like the last shot of the entire movie is would have been way better in my opinion. But like that's AMC anyway. So there was that. Um. So, I sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. But it was that, and I remember in the theory, it's just a theory. No, in the theater,
Oh
No.
in the theater, when and like I remember when we were talking, we'll get there when we get there in May, but I remember getting called out for a certain musical sting in a certain intergalactic swashbuckling scoundrel movie where a certain guy with horns and a red lightsaber, his one theme was starting to play, and I got dunked on it for it. But with this scene, what I'm talking about in the final fight, when Adonis shakes and like wakes up after seeing or like in glimpses of like the past and seeing his dad, like the announcer's like, it's almost like he got up when he was possessed, like that deal. And then he gets brought back to the corner, and then when he gets back up, the Rocky theme starts playing. It's just like, yeah, go get him, man, knock his
So
ass
earned.
out.
Yeah, and you
because
just
it's
feel
not
like
overplayed.
Yeah,
it is played at the most important parts when it needs to play, and like when you want to feel the emotion of like being triumphant and like really shooting through.
yeah,
And it oh my god, and like every punch just feels like a cannon going off, but not like in Rocky 3 where it felt like a literal cannon going off. No, it felt
yeah.
like just a giant burst of energy. Like, yeah, you finally fucking got him.
This
You
was
did it.
this was Adonis putting everything he had in those punches. Everything. To the point where by the time he was done with the fight, if Pretty Ricky was getting up, he has nothing left. He all the gas is gone. He literally collapses to the ground when he realizes he lost the fight because he cannot keep going. He can't. He's spent. That was the last that he had. That was the very last drop. And it's just so, but it doesn't take away the fact that it's like you guys said, it felt earned. It feels so strong because you have this backing track of like the original Rocky theme, and then like the music that's played in like the final rounds, usually the like ba na 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 na, like that, like that's playing,
Yeah.
and it ends like it, and I love it. I love when movies and when shows do sync up music to the action perfectly. Of when he hits that final punch on Pretty Ricky, the music just stops instantly, and it just ends on a great note. Like not to like overly gush about this movie, but there's a reason why this is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
The scene where the doctor is asking how many fingers he's holding up, and
Oh, it's so good.
and his ringside,
Stitch, yeah.
Yes, Stitch just helps him. Like, you just see behind, he just taps. He gives a tap for how many fingers he's holding to help him. It's like, oh, they're in this together.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my god. And then it just ends on like a nice, perfect note where again he didn't win the fight, but he won the night.
Yeah.
And they just fucking, it just cross dissolves, I believe, to just them going up the steps.
Yeah.
It's just
this was
subtle,
this
really
was the
quiet.
third time I cried.
It's quiet. It's just like he's taking his time going up the stairs, and he's still being charming. Like, man, I think they added a couple steps. And it's like, oh.
Dude, oh my heart, dude, my heart.
And then he just ends it with, they say when you're up here, you can see your entire future ahead of you.
Well, he specifically says when you're up here, you feel like you can fly. And that's just...
Yeah.
That's so good, man.
Just... Oh, man.
This is a movie. Watch it.
I love my grandparents, but I want Sylvester Stallone to be my granddad. I want him to give me fucking whimsy. And just, like, making me believe I could do anything.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is a big contender for probably my, like, most loved movie of this year. Like, holy shit, it's so charming. It's such a... This is, like, the best possible way to bring back the Rocky, like, feel.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it's from 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, is that this feels like this movie could still be made today. But, like, well, I say that...
Yeah, at the same time, I also kind of feel like they don't make them like they used to, but it's only 10 years ago.
Right, yeah. I was about to say, I say that, but, like, again, you got movies like I said before with Top Gun Maverick, also a phenomenal movie that, like, hits the notes perfectly of the Top Gun, like, duology there. But, yeah, any other closing remarks that we want to have for this film? Seb or Derek? I feel like I said everything I need to say.
I feel like I think I got everything off my chest, honestly, for this. I just think I just can't wait for Creed 2. That's going to be awesome to go through.
Mm-hmm.
You're all great movies.
Oh my god, I can't wait. So, honestly, like, I'm just excited for whatever happens next. I don't even know if they're going to continue after Creed 3, but we'll see what happens.
I just hope that if they do, because I've only heard things about Creed 3, and I'm a little skeptical to watch it for many reasons. One of them being Sylvester Stallone not returning for that movie, but also the main antagonist is,
Jonathan.
Jonathan
aha,
is...
Aha, Jonathan, you beat the shit out of your wife.
Yeah.
Fun fact, this month, March of 2025, Michael B. Jordan told The Hollywood Reporter that he would like to work with Jonathan Majors again. He would love to make Creed 4 together, among other projects.
Was this before or after what happened?
This was this month, March of 2025, when we're recording this episode.
Michael.
Good night, everybody.
Please watch this movie.
Yes, please watch this movie. Thank you so much for watching or listening to us. Rate us 5 stars on wherever you're listening to us. Like and subscribe if you listen to us on YouTube. yeah, that's was our episode on Creed. And follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and all other socials. Thank you so much. And yeah. Alright, who will in a fight? Ant-Man or Adonis Creed?
Me.
Jake Paul. Goodbye, guys.
I'm sorry, Mr. Paul, but I gotta do this. Now I'm going for the other Pauls here.